Hello, my name is David Johnson, and this is the final podcast assignment for History 322, the study of women's history in the United States. Throughout this course, we have explored the hardships and progress made by and for women. In this final segment, we will learn about the second wave of feminism in the United States from the first-hand account from my mother, Rosalind K. Johnson. Social and economic status while you were growing up. What were you told or taught about womanhood at an early age regarding education, having children, or having a job?
Well, my stepfather owned his own business, so we were like middle class. My mother was a homemaker, so she stayed home taking care of the house and the family. Most of my friends' mothers didn't work either. As for education, they really didn't push it. If myself or any of my siblings wanted to go to college, we would have gone to like a community college or had to figure out on our own how to attend a university and pay for it. Myself and my brother and my sister, who are older than me, we all pretty much had to get a job by the age of 15 to pay for those extra entertainment or anything that we wanted to do.
All right. Question 2. Title IX, passed in 1972, made discrimination against girls in education illegal. How would you say that affected you in school? Was there talk or noticeable change because of it that you observed?
I really didn't observe it. I know my family, my mother and father, really didn't speak of that, and it really wasn't taught in school. I don't ever remember being told by a teacher or anything that us girls could go on to be President of the United States or an astronaut or anything. So I don't think I was ever, I don't think I was aware that a discrimination was going on.
Okay. Question 3. You grew up during the second wave of the American Feminist movement, the Civil Rights Movement, and women's liberation. How did this affect your perception of social change? What effect on the society around you did you observe?
The only thing that I noticed is a lot of my friends' moms were starting to go to work, mostly part-time at the beginning, and then would kind of climb a little bit more in what they were doing. For instance, my best friend's mother went to work for a veterinarian, just running the office, and she then became an office assistant and then his veterinarian assistant. So I noticed more of my friends' mothers going to work, but another thing that I noticed is a lot of divorces that didn't happen so much when I was younger as I got older. There seemed to be more women on TV, mostly like broadcasting news jobs instead of just commercials, a beautiful housewife selling something. But that's about all I noticed.
So my fourth question, what and when was your first job? And I would like to remind you that Title VII of the Civil Rights Act prohibited discrimination against women in the hiring process and was passed in 1965. The act itself was not enforced until 1969, though. In your early work experience, did you experience or witness discrimination in the hiring process or during employment at any time? And what type of discrimination was it?
Well, I got my first time job at the age of 14, and at that time I had to get a work permit from my high school to say it was okay for me to be able to work. I worked at a private preschool, and my job was entertaining the children until the parents showed up to pick them up by a certain time. The only discrimination I saw at this job was we had to wear, the girls had to make sure that they wore dresses, nylons, and high heels, where the men could be casually dressed. Also, when it came to cleaning up after the kids or they made a mess in the restrooms or anything, it was always pointed for the girls. The girls had to do that job. That was more their job, and if you'd kind of act like you didn't want to do it, the man would say, well, that's the woman's job. So.
Okay. So question 5. Beginning around 1980, sexual harassment against women became more noticed and focused upon in the political arena and in the social arena. In your experiences both before and after the year 1980, how did you view sexual harassment?
Well, in the 80s, I worked for the banking industry and worked mostly with men that were in the higher positions. There were not very many women that held a title of AVP or above, and the ones that did were very hard to work with and unapproachable. The only sexual harassment I saw, a lot of were more verbal than physical. And not only did it come from the upper management males, but it came from male customers. And they would make a sexual remark to us girls working as tellers, and our male bosses would just go along with it. Nothing was ever said or anything. It didn't matter of our feelings or if we were afraid or anything. I guess they just expected us to deal with it on our own way.
Was there any route for you to take that you could possibly do something about it or anything? Was that option open to you?
Well, I think we were all made to feel that if you went up to complain, to your boss or somebody over your boss, you were kind of looked down upon and were afraid of losing your job. I saw some girls lose their jobs not really knowing why, and I now wonder, did it have something to do with that?
Okay. All right, and question 6. Who were your female role models growing up? Were you influenced by the increase of women appearing in lead positions on TV and in film?
Well, I think the women I saw most on TV at the time was Barbara Walters, Carol Burnett, and I guess I want to say Cher. Who did I look up to? I know that I always liked Cher because she seemed to speak her mind. Was put down a little bit for it, but got away with it. So,
how did your parents view the things that Cher was saying, or her actions in general?
Well, my mother would laugh and liked it, but my dad wouldn't. And when the Sonny and Cher show was on, my dad would put her down and say, what did he ever see in her?
Okay.
And my mom would stick up for Cher to a point.
All right, my next question. Growing up, did you feel your opportunities were limited because you are a woman? Likewise, did you feel as if there was limited opportunities? Was that how it was supposed to be? Did you feel wronged by these limitations at all?
Well, growing up with a homemaker mother, when I was younger, I thought you get married and you take care of your family and your husband. And the husband worked and paid the bills. As I got older and started working, making my own money, I thought all the smaller jobs were for the women. The jobs I thought that were for women were like nurses, teachers, grocery clerk, bank tellers, models, but nothing like running a company. To me, that was out of question. I was never around, I guess, growing up, a strong woman that took on her own, or it was always dependent on the man to take care of everything.
My final question. One key tool historians use to gauge social progress is studying change over time. Thinking about your experiences as a whole, what changes have you observed in regards to women's rights, their place in society, and economic standing from the start of the second wave of the feminist movement up to modern day?
Well, I think things have changed so much in my lifetime. I feel women have a lot more of a voice and their opinions matter. Women have shown that they are able to get educated and hold down higher positions in the workforce. They are now able to get loans to start their own business, buy a home, cars, etc. without a man. women are now supporting their families while the man stays home. I think women have come a long way. And I'll be honest, with a woman running for president this last election, I felt, because of the way that I grew up, I wasn't sure if I was ready for that, for a woman to control our government.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, thank you for your responses. And is there any other comments that you'd like to make at all? No?
No, go women.
All right. Thank you very much.
All right.
In conclusion, this interview proves that while some aspects of the second wave of the American Feminist movement did have an impact, many things went unchanged or unnoticed. Hopefully, as society progresses, we will move closer and closer to a truly equal society between men and women.